Okay, everyone, welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Please silence all cell phones and note that this meeting is being taped by FCTV. If there's any private party recording this hearing, please step up to the podium to request permission. I'll introduce the board and staff. On my far right is Mark Finneran. Closest to me is Frank Duffy, the clerk. I'm Suzanne Murphy, the chair, and to my left is Tony Pertucci. We also have Noreen Stockman, the zoning administrator, and Ashley DeMello, the office assistant. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the state zoning statutes as well as the town zoning bylaws and reviewing and voting on any application. All decisions are made through the public hearing process. Our goal is to hear testimony from the applicants and the public and to allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to the closing of the hearing process and reaching a decision. Number one, to begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement for the hearing and read pertinent information from the file. The applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation, but their time may be extended by a vote of the board. 3, the board will then question the applicant. 4, the public will then be invited to comment. Comment should be limited to 2 minutes and be strictly related to the proposal. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair and should come to the podium. State your name and address for the record. Speak into the mic, but it will not amplify your voice, and record audio for FCTV viewers. And before we start, we have a time if anyone wants to make a public comment. You can come up to the podium, but not on anything that's related tonight. Anybody want to come up? And then we're also going to take a quick moment of silence. We have a Bonnie O'Neill, who was our former zoning administrator, passed this week, and we'd like to take a quick moment of silence for her. Okay, thank you all. So our first hearing tonight is no continuations, and the first hearing is 06425.
Open it. I'll read the public notice. It's application 64 of the year 2025. Mark A. and Courtney A. Romaine have applied to the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240-10.2A and 240-11.4A1, small letter I, of the Falmouth zoning bylaw to allow alteration to the existing non-conforming dwelling to include addition for loft space, dormers, and a covered porch, and to construct a detached garage with habitable space above and a plunge pool in the front yard more than 50 feet from the front property line.
And we've had a request for a continuation on this.
Yes, from Kevin Clower.
You want to make me a motion, Frank?
He's going to speak, I think.
Oh, you're going to speak to it? Okay.
Yeah, I was just here in case there were any questions. We did request a continuation. We did communicate that with Attorney Ed Kirk, who's representing one of the abutters. So I discussed that with Ed briefly last night and confirmed this morning. So we are requesting a continuation until the next available hearing date.
Okay.
We need a date to make the motion.
Do we have a date?
Continue to November 6th.
November 6th.
I move this hearing be continued to November 6th at the request of the applicant. Second.
We have a motion and a second. You all set? All set? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
All right, thank you very much.
Great, thank you. And then we move on to 06525, Habitat for Humanity, 48 Benjamin Nye.
Okay, this is application 65 of the year 2025, Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod, Inc.
Do we read that first?
No, we have to
Read
read the opening.
Got it.
Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod, Inc. Has applied to the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals for a comprehensive permit pursuant to Chapter 40B of the Massachusetts General Laws to demolish existing structure and construct 14 single-family dwellings, all units to be affordable. The subject property is 48 Benjamin Nyes Lane in Falmouth, Massachusetts. Okay, I'm making the following motion. I move the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals has grounds to declare that a denial or approval with conditions of this application is consistent with local needs as defined in General Laws, Chapter 40B, Sections 20 to 23, and 760 CMR, that's Code of Massachusetts Regulations, 56.031A and 3A, because the town's subsidized housing inventory exceeds 10%, and further under 760 CMR 56.031B and 4 for municipal compliance with its approved housing production plan, and to provide the requisite 15 days written notice following tonight's hearing to the applicant and to the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities.
I will second. And so let's vote on that. Finneran?
Aye.
Duffy, aye.
Murphy, aye.
Petrucci, aye.
And that's what we have. Do you want to read?
Yes, some relevant information from the file. This property is at 48 Benjamin Nye Lane in North Falmouth. The owner is Habitat for You, or the applicant is Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod, Inc. The zoning district is RB. They've applied for a comprehensive permit under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40B, Sections 20 to 23, and 760 CMR 56.00. This is a local initiative project. The Fiddler's Cove Coastal Pond Overlay District, there's a wildlife corridor involved, no flood zones of record, no previous decisions of the Board of Appeals of record. The lot is 326,220 square feet in a zoning district which currently requires 40,000. That works out to the project being on approximately 7.5 acres of this, with the remaining 48 acres to be open space. The street frontage is 476 feet in a zoning district which currently requires a minimum of 100 feet. Benjamin Nye Lane is a public right-of-way at this location. There are no noted nonconformities. We have a number of referrals from town departments. Engineering has noted that this should be a subdivision road. They've requested that stormwater regulations apply to the project, and they note in their referral that many other issues should be submitted to peer review and comment. And they have also provided us with a number of proposed conditions if the comprehensive permit is approved. The Board of Health advises that they have no concern at this time, that there's an IA system proposed, but the applicant will have to deal with the Board of Health as far as septic systems are concerned. The Affordable Housing Committee recommends approval. The Fire Department has no issues. The Select Board has informed us that they have endorsed this project as a local initiative project. The Building Commissioner has no issues at this time. The Housing Coordinator says that this project supports the housing production plan goals. The Water Department notes that there is no water service, but that the fire flows at the nearest fire hydrant appear to be okay. We have 2 letters in opposition which offer some criticism of the project.
Take it away.
Take it away, all right. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Warren Brody. I am the attorney.
Hold on, sir.
Excuse me?
You can explain it to him if you
We have only 4 members. We do not have a full board
I
tonight.
understand
Four-member
that.
board. Yeah.
So it's your option to go or come back at a later date when it's a full board.
Go forward. Yes, we intend to proceed.
Okay.
Thanks.
Again, Warren Brody is my name, the attorney for Habitat for Humanity. It's nice to see you all again. I was here quite recently. I am a volunteer for Habitat. I'm also a former board member for the last 12 years. Also a Falmouth resident of over 10 years. With me tonight are Noreen Brown, Habitat's Director of Land Acquisition and Permitting, Joe Henderson of the Horsley Witten Group of Sandwich, which is the engineer for the project, and Kurt Raber of Catalyst Architect Interiors, Inc. of Yarmouth, although Kurt is a Falmouth resident. Also tonight with us is Jessica Rittenauer, who is the Executive Director of the 300 Committee Land Trust. So Habitat is proposing to build 14 affordable homes on a 7.5-acre parcel of land at 48 Benjamin Nye Lane in North Falmouth. Habitat is permitting this project, or we seek to, under Mass General Laws, Chapter 40B, the comprehensive permit statute, through the local initiative program. We are collaborating with the 300 Committee Land Trust to ensure long-term public benefit from the property by conserving approximately 48 acres of land for future public access, while also creating much-needed community housing. The building site is shown as Lot 7 on a subdivision plan entitled Plan of Land at Benjamin Nye Lane and Quaker Road, North Falmouth, Mass., dated April 30th, 2024. You can find that plan at our attachment number 4 in our application packet. I assume all of you have the application packet. The proposed building site is comprised of a previously disturbed developed area containing a driveway, single-family home, a barn, and a 2-car brick garage. Adjacent to this previously developed area are undisturbed areas with mixed indigenous tree growth consisting of oaks, evergreens, and native understory shrubs and ground cover. The structures on the site will be demolished prior to construction, at least that's our plan. An open space lot area of approximately 3.2 acres will remain as a naturalized, undisturbed buffer surrounding the homes, and there's another open space lot, excuse me, of about 23,800 feet, which will host the wastewater treatment and soil absorption system. We are proposing the street name for the access road of Hospitality Way with a modest sign at the entrance near the stone wall. The final sign design approval will be requested of this board once the stone wall and landscaping at the entrance is complete. As far as zoning, the underlying zoning of the parcel is residential, that is RB. The site is proximate to public utilities with electricity and water running to the existing house. A well at the current house site will be abandoned, and there is no public sewer available. The 300 Committee has site control of the property through a purchase and sale agreement with the property owner, TLC LLC. Habitat and the 300 Committee executed an assignment last year, which was amended earlier this year, whereby the 300 Committee assigned to Habitat the right to purchase the 7.5-acre parcel for this development. We and the 300 Committee have involved the town throughout the permitting process. Early on, we discussed the project concept with Housing Coordinator Kimberly Fish, and we shared project information with multiple town committees. With the support of the Falmouth Affordable Housing Fund and the Community Preservation Committee, the Select Board approved an award of $250,000 for acquisition costs and another $1.25 million in early construction costs. An in-person...
Point of interest, I'm sorry, I didn't hear, on the money side, what did you say? Could you repeat that for me, please?
The Select Board approved an award of $250,000 for acquisition and another $1.25 million for early construction costs.
Thank you.
An in-person community meeting was held on October 9th of last year, and again virtually on October 15th, where community members had the opportunity to comment on the project. Abutters' concerns were heard, discussed, and where possible, modifications were made at that time to the site plan. As a result of feedback at that meeting, the buffer around the homes was increased to address abutters' concerns. The community will be 100% affordable, not merely 25%. All 14 homes will be deed restricted. They will remain affordable in perpetuity, and they will be counted on the town's subsidized housing inventory. Half of the homes will be sold to what we consider low-income households, that is, adding very low-income households earning at or below 60% of the AMI, and the other half will be sold to households at 80% or below of the AMI. Sale prices will be determined prior to marketing, following HUD income guidelines and Executive Office and Housing and Livable Communities price calculations. The town has requested and Executive Office has approved a local preference for this project. This allows up to 70% of the homes to be awarded to awarded a local preference for applicants living and working in the town of Falmouth, employed by the town, or with children enrolled in Falmouth Public Schools. That amounts to 9 of the 14 homes. Our timetable is to start infrastructure upon taking title to the property with a current target of January of 2026. The infrastructure work will include post-salvage demolition of the existing buildings, installation of the roadway, wastewater management and stormwater management system, drainage, and foundations. Phase 1, consisting of 7 homes, is scheduled for the spring of 2027, followed by the second phase in the fall of 2028. Each of the 14 lots will contain a modest home with off-street parking, a shed, a full basement, and be serviced by a shared innovative alternative septic system. All homes will meet or exceed the Executive Office LIP standards in terms of square footage. The common area, including the shared septic system and the operation and maintenance of the access drive, will be in the hands of a homeowners association. That association will be managed by a professional organization with, of course, the participation of the homeowners. Our homes typically meet or exceed the standard requirements of LEED, if you know the leadership in environmental excellence and design, something like that. Energy Star also, and carbon neutral homes. The homes are all electric, and as site conditions and funding allows, we'll try to fit all the homes with solar panels sufficient to realize a HERS score, that's that home equity rating system, HERS, score of net zero or better, and there will be no storage or usage of fossil fuels in any of the homes. HVAC and domestic hot water will be delivered by the latest in heat pump technology, and all appliances will be Energy Star certified. In 2022, Habitat Cape Cod received an award for consistently having the lowest HERS scores among the 1,000 plus Habitat affiliates across the country, and we're quite proud of that. In terms of accessibility, our families are selected prior to doing the framing work so that floor plans can be modified to accommodate mobility constraints, wheelchairs and whatnot. Although Habitat does not build homes with no step entry, ramps can be installed as needed, and the farmer's porch, which is part of our design, can be raised to floor level for ease of direct access into the home with a wheelchair. The ranch floor plan offers one level living except for mechanicals and laundry. And we have, of the 14 units, 8 are ranches, 5 are capes, and one, the largest one, a 4-bedroom colonial. Our exterior doors are all 36 inches wide. Bedroom and bathroom doors are 34 inches wide, and hallways are 42 inches wide, which allows for wheelchair access. Blocking for handrails and grab bars are standard in bathrooms, and lever door handles and flat panel switches are installed throughout the homes. Environmentally speaking, the property falls within the Rand Harbor, Fiddler's Cove, and Wild Harbor embayment watersheds, and therefore it will require an innovative alternative septic system to make sure that we reduce nitrogen originating from our wastewater. A shared Nitrex system serving all 14 homes will be installed to reduce the level of nitrogen. A large part of the property is mapped as Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program habitat for the eastern box turtle. Habitat is working with the Mass Division of Fisheries and Wildlife toward the issuance of a conservation and management permit that will allow for the regulatory take of eastern box turtle habitat. That will require mitigation. That's what we're working on. The site itself is set within a residential area with nearby Cape, ranch, and colonial-style homes of varied size. Abutters of the 7.5-acre site, including homes on Benjamin Nye Lane, Cameron Road, and Needles Lane. We have maps you'll see in attachment number 3. The property is within a half a mile of the Shining Sea Bike Trail, a half a mile from the Wild Harbor General Store, and 0.7 of a mile to the North Falmouth Library. is also convenient to banks, restaurants, coffee shops, gas stations, grocery stores, and a pharmacy. In terms of landscaping, we have maximized a naturalized buffer area to preserve some specimen trees, including an American chestnut and some large caliper oak and pine trees. We will incorporate native, easy care, and drought-tolerant plants, flowers, small trees, and shrubs on the site. We plan to provide appropriate transitional plantings as a buffer between any developed areas and the surrounding woodland. We're currently working with an organization called Resilient Roots, which is a Cape Cod-based permaculture organization, to incorporate sustainable, eco-friendly wildlife landscapes into our plans. While Habitat will choose the site-wide plantings, our families will have some say in the selection of the initial plantings around their individual houses. Our model of homebuyer and community engagement. We will use our tried and true sweat equity model to build these houses. Once selected by a lottery, families devote 250 hours, volunteer hours, per adult homeowner to building their homes. A family may volunteer in their own home or another Habitat build or other related events. We work very closely with buyers, providing homebuyer education, financial counseling, and support, including through the mortgage and the closing process. This is a critical element of our partnership since, in our experience, education is really the key to successful home ownership. Habitat encourages community engagement through their team building program. Team days, which we offer, give an opportunity to volunteer on Habitat sites, fostering teamwork and a sense of community. These builds typically involve hands-on construction work, such as framing, painting, or landscaping, under the guidance of Habitat staff. Team builds are a great way for organizations to connect with their community, boost employee morale, and support Habitat's mission. Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod partners with families in need of an affordable home to build one of their own, fostering stability, self-reliance, and a strong sense of community. Founded in 1988, Habitat Cape Cod has delivered just under 200 homes to families in need, and we look forward to adding these 14 homes to the community. As far as the application booklet that you have, let me go through what's in there. The first part is the application itself on the standard application form. At attachment 1 is our project eligibility letter from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. There are then letters of support from the Affordable Housing Committee, the Town Manager, and the Select Board. We also have a letter of interest with regard to financing the project from Cape Cod 5-cent Savings Bank. And finally, in attachment 1, certified list of abutters. Attachment 2 contains the project narrative, which I've just presented, a roster of our development team, a letter from the property owner, LTC, LLC, giving consent for us to proceed here, the purchase and sale agreement between LTC and the 300 Committee, and the assignment relative to the 7.5 acres for this development, and an amendment to the assignment. There's also a letter from the IRS as to Habitat's tax exempt status, and a certificate of good standing from the Massachusetts, Commonwealth Secretary. Attachment 3 contains maps and photographs, very simple. Attachment 4 is really the heart of the submission. You will find there the recorded subdivision plan, the comprehensive permit site plans by Horsley Witten are numbered C1 through C12, and a landscape plan. Then there are the architectural plans from Catalyst, including building tabulations, followed by a list of the requested waivers for the project, traffic impact evaluation, and a letter from the 300 Committee to the Conservation Commission about environmental mitigation issues. In attachment 5 is a sample marketing plan and a sample lottery process description, how the lottery works. Finally, attachment 6 has a draft declaration of trust for the homeowners association and a sample monitoring agreement that we will be required to provide. And that concludes my comments at this point, and I invite your questions and comments.
All right, do you want to start off, Tony?
Well, I'm always amazed at how well you folks put this together.
Thank you.
Very complete. And I know as one member, I appreciate these are very difficult to go through for board members, especially since we seem to have so many here in town. So let me just start off, and obviously we're going to have plenty of time to ask a lot of questions, not just at this meeting, but going forward after this. If there's any going forward after that, then I have to say that. One of the things that, and again, I'm very impressed with how you folks do this compared to some of the others that I see sometimes. But I took a ride through Willett Way, which is the example you use on your presentation. And Willett Way was, the decision was quoted on August 23rd of 2018, and the last CO was delivered on October 17th of 2023. I drove through it on the 14th of this month, just the other day. And I'll be very honest with you, I was very underwhelmed. And the reason I say that is not because you don't do a good job, but because you did, and you're going to change it here a little bit, because you did the same thing, one after another for the most part. The landscaping is extremely weak. You say you have professional management that's going to take care of Benjamin Nye? Is that, yes. Are they the same people taking care of Willett Way?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. I'm speaking as one person, one board member, and someone who has built a lot of subdivisions. I was very underwhelmed. I did not, that sort of, what I saw there just can't happen on Benjamin Nye. It's just not, I know you're changing the houses up a little bit here, but one of the things, and I praised you folks on Gifford, because you were taking an extremely offensive use of land on Gifford, and you were making it into something very wonderful. Here you're taking a wonderful piece of land, and you're really putting a lot of housing in there, and appropriately so, I get that. But my concern is that architecturally, I know this board member is going to want to see maybe higher pitch roof, going beyond a 7-pitch on the ranch, because I think it's a 7-pitch. And I'd like to just know from your architect if you can get it up to at least a 9, something that doesn't look like an army barracks. And I mean that. I mean, when I went through Willett Way, I thought I had just driven through
The base.
the base. All right? And that just, in my opinion, is not going to fly in this area. All right. So having said that, and I don't want to go too far because we have a lot of opportunity. I see that the select board was quite committed with $1.5 million. What are the conditions on them putting that up? Any particular conditions? Yes, approved.
Assuming we achieve the comprehensive permit.
Right. The homeowners association, there are draft documents in here the same way you did for Willett Way.
There is a draft of the homeowners association trust.
And you propose or you suggest that it's $60 a month for homeowners association?
We are not at that point yet.
I thought I read that someplace.
It's a far more complicated calculation, given the IA system, earlier increased costs for operation and maintenance in the early years, and so on. So we haven't arrived at a final conclusion. The idea will be for Habitat to make sure there's enough money in there to start with.
Yes, because there's no way you can build a capital fund at that little money per month per house.
Right.
So I haven't read through it. I will read through it because I don't even know if you have repair cycles in there, those sorts of things that keep a property in good shape. I don't know how you function. I don't understand how that is, but I will be asking more questions on that. With regard to, and again, I don't want to go into too many questions here. As far as the buffer is concerned, of course, I walked the site, and this 45-foot buffer between Cameron and the left side of the new subdivision, I think it's wonderful. I think that was thinking way ahead, and it's a wonderful thing. What people don't understand is that once trees come down, that 45 buffer will seem like nothing, like absolutely nothing. But it's a good thing. Thank you for doing that. It's a really good thing. But they have to understand that is going to be a lot of sunlight coming in. And I went up there a second time, and I stood there, and I just looked and looked, trying to figure out what could one do to maybe mitigate that a little bit. And I think you mentioned it, something about plantings in that buffer area?
Yeah, in the transitional area, yes.
Yeah. You're calling it the transitional area? Yeah, because I think that's, I mean, I can certainly see the houses, they're going to see everybody else, and I want to make sure that if this thing is approved, that nobody that's living on what you're going to call, I forget the name you're going to call, Hospitality Way, is going to ever encroach into that. You know, not going to be putting sheds, swings, storing materials, because the buffer, if this is approved, between Cameron and this has to be sacrosanct. It has to be protected. And it may require additional buffering. I drove down Cameron, I stood on Cameron, I looked across, and I'm concerned about that. And I'm going to, and Madam Chair, I've just got a couple more quick questions.
Go for it.
Because I want them to understand what we're thinking, and it's not going to be everything. We generally like to talk about when you have a very dense subdivision like this, because a lot of lights, we like to talk about dark sky compliant, or at least dark sky friendly. So in other words, minimize light trespass. And some people at night, they leave their back lights on or whatever, and there's a lot of light trespass. And I know that I'm going to be looking to see that you've minimized that. And if it is not dark sky compliant, which carries a whole bunch of regulations and requirements, that is at least dark sky friendly. And I'm going to want to see, I know that I'm going to want to see it. I thought I read everything, but I don't see it in the plans. I don't see a light study, but maybe it's there.
Well, we can go over the site plan.
I'm just throwing it out so that when we go through this again, that you know about it, that's all. And I'm going to, other than needing peer engineer and peer reviews and all that, I'm going to just, I'm going to stop right here and let other board members have their questions.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Is the pull-off for the moms and dads or the humans that are watching the kids going to be on the, well, there's a retention basin, so obviously it has to be on the other side of the street?
This is a good time to put up the site plan, I
yes.
think.
Good evening, Joe Henderson, Horsley Witten. Okay if I share some plans? Okay. I might need some.
Password's right up there,
Okay.
Taped right on.
piece of tape up there. Yay.
Shocked I made it work. Easier if I look at it on here, maybe. So if I can maximize this, there we go. So here's the site plan you're at.
Yeah. Show me where the cars are going. It said in the file that there's going to be like a little pullover place?
So there is can you hear me okay? There's
Yeah.
a bus stop or bus drop area
Yeah,
up here.
that's
If
right,
you can see my
figured it was-
cursor, right? But there is no pull-off area. There's no extension of the road to,
How wide is the road there?
the road is 22 feet total width.
Pretty wide. And is the mail going to go up there too?
So there's also a mail kiosk area right here. where
It's
my
on the
cursor-
other side, so when you're
Other side.
driving in, you get your mail.
Correct, yeah.
Long arms and you get
You
your mail.
can, yeah, you pull off to the side, there'll be a grass shoulder
Okay,
if you had to.
okay. I must say that the site visit that we had was wonderful. It was informative, it was wonderful. It was one of the best ones I've had for a site visit. And I appreciate you caring about the trees, the chestnut, the pines. I mean, there's two beautiful chestnut trees. And I appreciate that you're incorporating them in someone's yard.
Is the board interested in me walking through the plans at all at this point, or I can do that if you'd
Want to?
like?
I think the public might be too.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Feel free.
All right, so I'm going to go back to the first picture here. This is just a picture of the overall site, right? We talked about 55 acres. This is the total 55 acres with the developed site in the upper right-hand corner. And that's the 7.5 acres there. And that, I think as we had mentioned before, that's the area that currently has the house, the barn, the shed, and the grass area, the landscape. There's some grass areas, yard up in that area. So that's the kind of the previously disturbed area of this large parcel. I just wanted to share this. This is a kind of a picture of what the site would look like with the property lines or the lot lines overlaying on the existing conditions. And it just kind of wanted to show this to demonstrate, just kind of trying to take advantage of the existing disturbed areas of the property. Warren mentioned there's a subdivision plan that's been prepared. BSS group is doing that, or BSS, I think, Design, they're called now. They're doing the subdivision plan, and will create the 14 lots, along with the open space lot, which is shown there as Lot 23. We also are allowing a area for trail connection. There's a trail planned in the conservation area, so that this kind of space here allows for a common area to access that trail. And that's between lots 5 and 6. The lot numbering on this will be, we'll have to revise our lot numbering to match the subdivision plan. The subdivision plan is based on all the other lots that are on the property. So the site plan, we're just looking at this. Just the project in general, it's using the same driveway, or it's coming in at the same location as the driveway. We have a 22-foot wide area with a 44-foot wide right-of-way. And it's going to plan to be private because the infrastructure for the sewer is in the roadway, and the town won't allow that as a public road. So that's why it will be private. But we are planning to build the road as far as the road width, the pavement depth, everything in accordance with the town's regulations, specifications. So we'll meet the width and the depth and all that. It won't be able to be public because of those, the infrastructure that's there.
May I ask a question?
Of course, yeah. Go for it.
You say you're going to be compliant with chapter, what is it, 305? Of the subdivision control law here in town?
Yes, I was specifically talking to the width and the pavement requirements, like the top, binder, base, that kind of
Not doing
thing.
like granite curbs or any,
No, Cape Cod berm would be yeah,
no sidewalks.
no sidewalks.
So this is under that, this is considered a minor street, and you're at 22 feet, don't you have to go 24 feet? No?
We're at 20, I think 22 is the required, my
Yeah,
understanding. Yeah.
I'm not an expert on
Yeah.
that. But doesn't have to do with where you put all your utilities as well?
So the right-of-way is 44, and that's where the utilities would,
That's what they'll be, okay.
yeah, they need to be within the right of, we can't, with a shared septic, we won't be able to keep all the septic, private septic piping within the lots. It has to cross the right-of-way.
As you put the septics in, you provide all the ties to the town, locations and all that, profiles, do you draw the profiles at the end?
Yeah, the plans have profiles of the road and the sewer. There would be, there's a sewer.
As-built at the end?
Yeah, we do an as-built, but I think if it's a private system, I don't know, the town would need
I don't know that.
those profiles. I don't think, if it's private, I don't know that it would need to have all that.
They just need the main.
But at least the ties, so the town knows where they are in case there's an emergency.
Sure, for the sewer, yep, we'll put in stubs, and then once the buildings are built, they'll connect to those sewer stubs.
And of course, we don't regulate that. You'll have to deal with the DPW and engineering and all
I
that.
think Board of Health, probably.
Board of Health,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Sure. So as I was mentioning, the entrance, like we looked at it in the field, it's the same driveway, but it has to be wider than what's there currently, so the wall that's there would need to be peeled back. A portion of it, the whole wall wouldn't have to be removed, but a portion of it on each side would be removed or disassembled, and the rest of it would remain. The wall is pretty significant. It runs quite a ways down the road, so there would be a portion of that wall that would remain, but we would have to remove some of it to put this driveway in.
May
to
I ask
meet
a
the-
question on this?
Yeah, go for it.
While we're here, the thing,
Sure.
that wall, of course, shows them a lot of old historic books in Falmouth. It's just what it is there, that's very special, that wall. And I recognize that you have to peel back some of it. So, obviously, where it curves, but that's a very special wall. And I know you have to do certain things. So when you say some of it will remain in place, it'd just be a straight line, no more curve.
Yeah, I think it actually gets high, right, as you come
Yeah.
in. So I think it would be, potentially, you could put it back together and bring it along the entrance of the Habitat Road, but that would be up, or Hospitality Way, but I think that would be up to Habitat if they want to, build that in to the site or not.
But I think it's an iconic part of that road. I mean, this road goes back to the 1600s, not that this property does. All I'm doing is throwing it out. There are no decisions being made. It's something.
Right now, there's no plan to rebuild it, just to remove the wall for what's needed to build the road. And then maybe stockpile the stones, maybe they could use elsewhere on the site when they're doing some of the walls that are needed for the walkouts.
When we get into it later on, not in this meeting, another meeting, I'll ask that question again.
Okay. All right, I'll keep, so we talked about 14 lots. They're distributed in 4 2-bedrooms, 4 3-bedrooms, or 9 3-bedrooms and 1 4-bedroom. And the way we laid this out is in like a cluster-type open space style development. That's kind of the scheme we used here, and like we mentioned before, there's 3.1 acres of open space, including the center portion of the site where some of it's being used for the wastewater. We have the trail connection, as I mentioned already. There's a 45-foot wide portion of the buffer on the Cameron Road side. That's from the property line to the property line on that side. And then there's also a 30-foot buffer on this side. There's a 30-foot buffer, and then in this area, it expands out to about 39 feet at the closest point here. We did send create a vehicle circulation plan and send it to the fire department so that they could see that their largest ladder truck could navigate through the site. I think I'll just move on to the next sheet. So this is the grading plan, and just a couple of points on the grading. The way we try to design it is to maintain the natural topography, so we're trying to maintain as best as possible the existing grade, and in doing that, we've tried to incorporate some of the natural features, like the natural depression here to the north, using that for the stormwater management. The roadway itself is being treated through a water quality inlet, and then it discharges the treated stormwater to the pond or the depression area. We're also using a couple other isolated depressions for some of the stormwater management, and then we have a bioretention area at the front end to manage the runoff from the entrance road. And all the runoff from the driveways are either going to the street or they get managed in rain gardens that are distributed throughout the site. And we've designed this to meet the peak runoff and volumes for up to a 100-year storm event, which is almost 10 inches of rain. We did do test pits at the site. They indicated like a sandy loam layer soil on the upper layers, and then a good permeable sandy soil underneath, so conducive for infiltration. Utilities, we talked a little bit about this, but the water is being connected off Benjamin Nye. It has to be extended onto the site, and it has to be extended per the water department to midway so midway along our frontage, so it is extended almost 200 feet further from the entrance, and it's stubbed there with a hydrant. That'll be all 8-inch water main, with the 8-inch water main coming into the site and looping around the site. I think I heard you read in that we did coordinate a hydrant flow test to make sure that the water pressure and flow was adequate for the water department. The wastewater system is planned to be a Nitrex treatment system, so that's being designed by Lombardo Associates. They're the proprietor of that system. It's because we are in a sensitive area, embayment, we need to treat, we're going to treat down to 5 milligrams per liter, which is substantially lower than what's required for just a regular Title V septic system. And it's even on the level of a wastewater treatment plant, really. So that's our proposal for the wastewater. The leaching field is in the center of the open space, and that will be a pressure dosed. It's required to be pressure dosed. The flow for this property is 4,200, rough 4,290 gallons per day of wastewater. Again, treating to 5 milligrams per liter due to the nitrogen-sensitive area. The water table, based on our findings in the soil testing, is about 20 feet below grade at the leaching field. But when you get down closer to those depressions, it's only maybe 2 or 3 feet below grade. All right, lastly, the landscape plan. Our landscaping plan is incorporating, our landscape architects always incorporate like a native planting scheme. We're doing street trees every 60 feet along the roadway. And that is one of the waivers, I believe, that was being asked for. And then, as mentioned before, we're saving as many trees as possible. There's a resilient roots is already out at the site, flagging trees that they want saved. So we'll be, we tried to grade the site so that we wouldn't disturb those trees. And then we would, I imagine when we're, when we start to clear, resilient roots would be watching closely along the perimeter to find any trees that needed to be, could be saved. And then I think lastly, I know there was a letter from the town engineer. A lot of the comments referred to a peer review. So I was going to propose that we would provide a written response to the peer review once it's received. And if there's anything in there that the town engineer said asked for separately, we can address that also in the peer review letter.
Sounds good.
And that's all I had. So I'm happy to.
I have 2 questions for you. Are there going to be streetlights?
No streetlights
Any
proposed.
lighting inside at all?
Just building lighting on the houses.
No lamp posts or anything like that? Okay.
Not at this
And
time.
what about snow removal? Have you thought about that?
Snow, as far as the road?
Where will the snow go when you plow it?
So I think you would probably, we could designate a few areas if you'd
Yeah.
like to see those on the
At some
plan.
point, throw it, you know.
Yeah, we can
let
add
us
the
know.
snow store, yep.
Yep. That'd be good. That's all I have. Frank, do you want to?
Well, we scheduled a site visit for a very rainy day, so it got postponed, and I unfortunately missed it, but the members who did go out told me it was a very, very useful site visit. Many of the questions that I've had have already been asked, and I know we're going to get a lot of information from peer review engineers, so maybe that's when I'll ask the questions. But how are you going to handle trash pickup? It's not going to have municipal pickup on a private road. It's going to be the responsibility of the homeowners association, so you're going to have, how are you going to deal with that? You know?
Yeah, I think we'll have to maybe get back to you after, I don't know the answer
And
to.
snow, too, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, snow, I was
think-
going to ask a question about where you're going to pile the snow, because if you get a heavy snowstorm, you don't want to.
I think we would like to,
Everybody's driveway.
have a conversation with the town about that subject and see if there's any opportunity to have those services.
Typically, there's not in a private way, so.
No.
They won't if it's private, no.
Probably not going to happen.
You all set, Frank? You got more?
Yes, I think I'm going to reserve most of my questions till we get into the peer review status of this application.
Mark?
No, as usual, when Tony starts, he covers
covers
it
a
all
lot,
with his
yes.
broad brush.
I have five more pages.
Yes, I believe you do, too.
He's saving them.
Okay, he does his homework. I really don't have much, but you didn't have any idea what these are, you didn't give any indication of what these are gonna cost. Can you roughly speculate? Throw a dart at it?
I believe right now, our home's priced for a 3-bedroom that is a family of 4, trying to think.
It's in your
At
booklet.
80%, it's around 240,000. So the prices vary depending on the size of the household, and
Well, you said
60
earlier
versus
you hadn't
80.
put any.
Yeah,
price
and they'll
on it,
change as it's built. I mean, the prices will change. It's whatever HUD and EOLHC say. So,
That's all I have. I mean, we'll have plenty more as we go along, but
Yeah.
I'm fine for now.
Okay,
Guys ready for the public?
yeah.
thank you.
Anybody from the public want to come up? Are you guys all set with presentation? You're good?
Yes, yep. Unless, if you wanted to hear something from our architect,
Would you mind?
No, go for it.
you mind, Kurt?
The architect?
Yeah.
Yep, he's our architect.
Put your helmet on.
Get ready.
No.
Did you want me to talk a little bit about the houses, or did you have
Introduce
questions?
yourself
Oh,
first.
sorry. Kurt
He likes
Raber
peas.
from Catalyst Architecture and Interiors, and also a Falmouth resident.
I think you do a wonderful job. I do. I think they're great designs, relatively well proportioned. When I went through Willow Way, I was able to see, obviously, the finished product. One of the things that, one of the things that I noticed is that the roof pitches are very, very low. In my humble opinion, they should be no less than 9 pitch. I know your Colonial's at 7. I know that that's generally done for cost savings, as it should with you folks, I get that. But let me ask a question, are these roof trusses, so that,
Yes.
so that,
They're prefabricated roof trusses.
so are they box trusses, so there's attic space, or is it just all blown-in insulation, or is it foam insulation?
In the attic, it's usually multiple layers of that and blown in. So there's no attic HVAC systems or anything, so there's really no access up there. So the insulation is at the bottom chord of those trusses. There's no vaulted space or no attic space.
So Is there a openness, a willingness to maybe work on, again, we all believe in pride of place. It's very, very important. When I was at Willard, like I said, I was a little underwhelmed. I would like, and we'll bring it up again, but my question to you is, can you bring, especially on the ranches, can you bring the pitch up?
Oh,
at least to
ranches are-
9?
First, let me say that our director of construction from Habitat isn't here, and these have been engineered over years of making them volunteer-friendly to build, right? Because we don't have professional builders all the time out there building these. It's a sweat equity where the homeowners are working on them and volunteers, and they are constructed very well, because I've been on plenty of these construction sites.
I don't question that part. I don't question that.
So, and the ranch, I mean, lots of ranches around Falmouth with 4-pitch or 5-pitch roofs. So we've already got a much deeper roof than most of the ranches in town.
Oh, there's no question of that. But this is a new day. All right?
Yeah, we're
I think
just
you
trying to
know-
keep them affordable, too.
I think you do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
I do. I'm simply asking the question because I knew there'd be trusses. Trusses can be changed relatively easily. It's a crane that's going to go up there, that's going to bring it up there. Or maybe you're telling me there's not going to be a crane.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I already wrote down some of your comments from earlier, and Noreen and I will go back and talk with Bob Riley, who runs the Habitat's construction wing, and talk about the constructability of some of those suggestions, and come back next time with
Look at
some modifications or some reasoning.
The cape has a nice, it's well proportioned, does pretty much a half cape. Just think about those concerns. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Any other questions about the
questions for the
construction, or, I think this group has seen similar houses before a couple times, but, all right, thank you.
Thanks. Now we can go to the public if you'd like. Come on up.
Good evening.
Thank you for this project.
I'm Jessica Rittenauer. I'm the Executive Director of the 300 Committee Land Trust. Two of our board members are in the room with us this evening. Ken Foreman is here and Mike Duffany. I just want to share a few words from the 300 Committee about this overall North Falmouth Woodlands project. This is about partnership. This is an initiative. There are partnerships between the 300 Committee and the Falmouth Conservation Commission on the 48 acres of land that will be permanently protected as open space. The proposed housing development partnership, of course, with Habitat for Humanity. We, as the 300 Committee, approached the site for acquisition, saw a tremendous opportunity for significant open space conservation and to meet multiple community goals, to have a community housing element. We have a mission of preserving open space. We are deeply aware of and we appreciate the need for land for affordable housing as well. So the 300 Committee, where suitable, given the location, will partner with organizations so that a project can meet multiple community goals. For this parcel, we specifically invited Habitat for Humanity to be part of the partnership, and the joint plan does include, as you heard, the 48 acres of open space and the 7.5 acres that has already been separated off as a lot for conveyance directly to Habitat at the closing. This site, I will say, all of our meetings with Habitat, visioning sessions, we've been incredibly impressed with the environmental ethic and the value that they bring to the table. This is affordable housing done right. They're building on an already disturbed section of the property, minimizing any additional disturbance. They are providing significant buffers. The 100% affordability of the homes is clearly an important element. The wastewater treatment, state-of-the-art system. The figure that was presented earlier on the treatment level to 5 milligrams, that's an extremely important element where the 300 Committee has a land conservation and water quality protection mission. So that is something that we applaud. By helping with this overall acquisition, Habitat is purchasing this land for $1 million. This site overall, I want to remind folks, was on the open market. This is overall a $6.1 million initiative. The land related to the housing piece is $1 million. But we did have to have this property appraised before we put the offers in, and the highest and best use is more than 100 units here. This is something that we do as a routine part of our practice when we are evaluating sites and preparing for offers. So more than, I believe it was 110-unit condominium development as highest and best use. So we saw an opportunity, again, for significant open space conservation and to have an affordable housing element. The location near North Falmouth Elementary School is another element that we found really compelling about this overall location. So with that, I will share, we view this as a win-win for Falmouth, for the community, and we urge the zoning board to support this project. I would ask if we may, I believe Ken Foreman may have a comment. If we recognize Ken as part of the 300 committee.
He used to be up
Speaking
here.
as well.
Just a minute, Jessica.
I think Mark's in your chair, isn't he?
That's my chair. You just said your assessment said that you could get 110 units in
The
there?
entire site, I should have
I was
clarified
gonna
that.
say,
The entirety of the
you can get
56
that from
acres,
us.
right. Right.
All right.
The overall, yeah, thank you for that.
I can tell you that, as a Falmouth resident, I'm grateful that you folks did this, that you bought that piece of land. That has worried me for the last 50 years as to what might happen to that land, and I know what could happen to that land.
I
So
think-
thank you for that.
And we saw it as the opportunity of a lifetime, and this is why the 300 Committee as an organization is here, working in Falmouth. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica, and thank you, board members. Yes, I sat for more than 10 years, I guess next to Mark there. And that's really the only thing I wanted to add, was that I watched with great frustration as probably more than a dozen 40Bs came before us, and there was almost nothing we could do to mold those into projects that we really thought were okay. Wall to, lot line to lot line, clearing, no advanced septic, nothing. I think there's a project on Main Street right now. I think we had 70 conditions. Almost all of them, if not all, Noreen can tell me whether that's correct, were overturned by the Housing Appeals Committee. We're in safe haven now, as I understand it, and I think it's really important to stay in safe haven, and we can do that, especially with projects that are 100% affordable, which this is. So it really meets a need for the community, and I think it helps protect not just this site, but the rest of Falmouth by adding those 14 affordable homes to the inventory. That's really all I want.
All right.
May I ask a quick question? Just remind me, I started writing it down. The first phase is 7 homes, because it's all about the building permits. That's what keeps us in safe harbor, initially.
And being over 10%.
Well, and we are, right now, even though some people may not think so.
But staying there.
But staying there is important. So the key to that is pulling the building permits within a year. So I think I heard that spring of 2027 will be phase 1, 7 homes?
That's for all
what I wrote
I defer to.
No, that's what he said. Yeah.
that.
And then phase 2 is when?
Fall 28.
Fall, I just want to write this down, fall 2028.
Yeah, I think we actually were looking at doing 8 and 6, trying to be respective to looking at the erosion control and clearing and what would make sense to be the least disruptive in that way. So I think it was ended up recently thinking about 8 and 6.
Thank you.
You said spring of 28 for the second phase, right?
Yes.
Not fall.
Oh, I thought it was fall.
No,
I thought you said,
spring.
I thought you said fall. Anybody else? Come on up. You. I don't know your name yet, so I can't say it.
Ruth.
My name is Ruth Brazier, and I live across the street from this projected development. My
On Benjamin Nye itself, or on
Benjamin
Cameron?
Nye
Benjamin Nye,
Lane.
okay.
And I have two concerns and one suggestion. My first concern is about the wildlife corridor. There's one that go in through my property. There's one right opposite the entrance to the new development. Goes up a bank and through my property, connecting therefore with the 300 committee conservation areas. And the other one is on the left-hand side, is right, I guess at the edge of the, very close to the edge of the property there.
Where the
and
stone,
they
where the
come
stone wall
through-
is?
What?
Where the stone wall is?
The animals come through my driveway. So I'm concerned that that this left-hand side provide enough of a space for the animals to come through. Whenever there's a snowfall, you can see that it's heavily traveled by coyotes and deer and so on. And we are working on a conservation easement for most of our property, so that, partly to preserve those wildlife corridors on both sides. And that would leave most of it undeveloped. My
Excuse me,
second concern.
May I ask a question? What's your address? I just want to write it down. Your address is where? What is your address up there?
I'm sorry.
What is your-
number
What number
Benjamin
Where do you
Benjamin?
live?
I
What
live
number?
at 67.
67?
Thank you.
And my second concern is that our street, Benjamin Nye's Lane, is really a community resource. It attracts, in spite of the through traffic, which often goes too fast, it attracts a lot of walkers, people walking dogs, people bicycling, families with children on wobbly bikes. And they come from, make this part of their route, in spite of the fact that some of them live over a mile away. So it's not just for the residents here, but it's real community resource. And they like the sort of rural feeling, which I guess includes my messy front yard. And they also really, in the summertime, the trees that come right up to the edge of the road provide a very welcome shade for the people using this. So I think of it as a community resource. You know, people actually stop and talk to each other. And I want to see that preserved for the new residents as well as for the people who are already using it.
I wonder if we couldn't do some kind of signage, like slow down, or, I wonder if we
Well, for the
could
traffic,
talk to the
if we
DPW.
could limit the through traffic, if there was, because we get people on GPSs in huge trucks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, but a no through traffic sign on each end would be
Yeah,
might
maybe
help,
we can look into
especially
signage.
with the people who are less familiar.
Did you ever bring this up with the traffic committee?
What?
Did you ever go to the traffic committee about signs,
I think people.
speed calming
I
bumps?
haven't done that personally, but I know people on the street have done that.
Okay.
And it's always a concern, especially in the summertime. People come tearing through from Wild Harbor Road. So my suggestion for perhaps a way of consolidating the development, I've heard the people talking about two-family houses in going as additional lower-cost housing in places where right now we have only single-family housing. I think this would be, to have a few, to have some two-family houses in this development would be a good start for that. And so that's my suggestion, that that be considered.
Great, thank you.
Or is there anything you want to ask me?
I have no question, but anybody have questions? We're good. Mark?
No?
You're all set? We're all set, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Come on up.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening. And I wanted to say, Carol Hamilton. I'm 9 Cameron Road. So I'm one of the closest houses to this development. But I'd like to say thank you to Habitat for revising the original plans, which had my house 30 feet from the proposed home. But I have 3 areas of concern. 2 are easy questions I think that Habitat can answer. One was regarding the back of my house and probably some other homes. We have very large trees, scrub pines. I actually had my property resurveyed, and one of the biggest trees is on their line, and if that was ever to fall down, it'll be on my house, because I'm down gradient from the area where it's being developed. So I'd like to know what the plan is with the trees in that buffer zone between the house and our property lines. The second one had to do with, will there be any kind of fencing or border to prevent cut-through? You know, there have been people in the past, I already have coyotes and deer and, you know, but now it's people. So I'd like to know if there's going to be anything there for that. My third area is I did a lot of research and phone calls when the project was first proposed regarding the wastewater treatment system. And I even called the town hall and learned there is no existing project in Falmouth that is 100% affordable with a wastewater treatment system. I talked to the state, it's very expensive to monitor, requires monthly reporting, a lot of activity, and this is a $60 HOA. Who is going to be maintaining this system? And, you know, and who's going to pay the cost, particularly if anything was to happen, you know, with a system failed? Because we as homeowners have to pay for our septic. Anything happens, it's our cost. I would just like to know, what is the investigation on that support system for that? And thank you, that's it.
Thank you. Do anybody want to address that right now?
That's one of Lombardo's systems, and he's as good as it gets. And they last a good long time.
Other Noreen's going to tackle it. We'll call you Other Noreen.
I'm Noreen, Director of Land Acquisition for Habitat. At this time, there is no planning for additional fencing for the screening on the tree side. The $60 fee, that's an initial number Habitat puts in at the beginning of the application period when we start with the LIP application. But we are doing, you know, we're looking at the numbers now, increasing it for we have the O&M anticipated costs, so that'll be factored in there. Some snow plowing will be factored in. We will have a management company that'll be managing the funds and the homeowners association. And then we're also looking at, you know, some of the funding that has to go to cover, you know, some of the taxes around the buffer. There's a 3-acre buffer around the site, and then there's a 23,000 square foot site in the middle that'll all have taxes. So that number, the $60 number, it's not an accurate number at this time.
It's not in stone yet.
No.
And the maintenance does change on those systems. It goes,
It does, yeah. So,
That's
and they're getting
easier.
closer, even though it's provisional now, they are getting closer to general use. And at that point, they say that the inspections will get less as it goes along. Was that all 3, or?
is that, you got to come on up.
Oh, the tree. So the tree will be looked at, so as Joe had said earlier, the tree, when Resilient Roots goes out to look at the trees and helps tag the trees, that the tree will be assessed at that time.
Sure, I can just, so the area in green on this plan is untouched. Like, we won't touch anything there. So if your tree is on your property
It's
line.
right where the arrow is.
Yeah, right here, right? There's 9 right there. So 45 feet off the back of your property line will be completely untouched. Whatever trees or anything that's there will stay there.
But what is the distance from the edge of that buffer zone to the house being built on like a scrub pine that has a 50-foot root system?
Yeah, I don't, so
I was told by an arborist.
okay, I mean, we can definitely look at that, and if we need to save that, we can. I think, I did a calc, I think the houses are roughly about 120 feet apart. The house, from the proposed house to the existing homes on Cameron Drive, or the closest is 120 feet, building to building, not actual yard. And then just for the septic, we have a shared septic, so whatever the cost is for the maintenance of that will be distributed to all the lots. So it's a shared cost for that. So it's a little bit less than what you would see if you had an individual systems at each of these lots. It'd probably be more costly to do that than to have a shared
Way more,
system.
yeah. Sure, come on back up.
So I still have the question, wasn't any investigation done by the town regarding the first 100% affordable wastewater treatment system? Because you have other large projects, but they're privately run, privately managed. This is 14 units, there's not going to be a manager on site. So how,
No,
what
but
is
they're
the
going to have
difference?
an HOA, we'll manage, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah. An HOA is like a management.
No, I understand, but I don't think it's a simple system, that's all. And
They're used all over the place.
Yeah.
Shopping centers use these things. I mean, I know a little bit about them because
Yeah.
I participated in all the wastewater hearings back. And Lombardo was always there, and it's a decent system. I mean, they're using them all over the place. And nobody's going to let it fail.
Okay.
There is a smaller project down in Wacoit that just was finished, down by the vet, and it's 5 little dwellings with one,
With one wastewater?
yeah, one IA system.
But it's 100% affordable or not?
Yeah.
Oh. So when I called, they didn't tell me.
It's brand new. They're not even in it yet.
When you called who? When you called who?
So this is number 2.
Yeah.
So,
I
when you,
think,
who did you speak to in the town about this? Anybody?
Peter something?
Peter
Board of
Staub.
Health, maybe?
Scott
Scott.
McGann,
I'm
at the
sorry?
Board of Health.
I also called the state, but.
No,
there
but
was
we do
someone
have a
in the-
smaller version in Wacoit. You could take a ride up and take a gander.
419
Yeah.
McQuaid Highway.
Okay. All right. Oh, but the fence, did you answer the fence? I'm sorry. They don't have any plans.
No fence.
May I just say one thing to this about it, though? I did ask the question earlier about how they will preserve and protect that buffer zone, because once it's done, it's very easy for everybody who lives in the new place to kind of migrate into that, put their, whatever they're going to put there. And so when we get back to other questions, I will be asking again, what protection, how will you manage that buffer zone? Because you usually don't get that. That's a very fortunate thing we're getting, to have a developer actually think of doing that. But at the same time, if you're going to do it, now how do you manage it, protect it, so that people don't stop migrating into it? So
Well, between the poison ivy and the,
You guys all have a lot of poison ivy up there.
Well, you were the one wearing the shorts that day.
Well, that's why I was going the other way. Yeah.
But the sheds are already on the plan too, so people aren't going to be like installing sheds and pushing them in your backyard or anything. They're on the plan, so they'll do it according to the plan. So they won't,
You remember, we had this free space.
I know, it's going to be hard on you.
No such
is.
thing as free space.
Yeah.
It's right up there with lunch.
Come on up, sir.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Michael Duffany, and I'm actually speaking as a former Board of Director member of Habitat. And when I was there, one of the things that impressed me, and I wanted to answer a concern of yours about the attics, was one of the things that I was impressed with was a level of insulation and the all of the thought process that goes into trying to keep these homes affordable for the folks that are living in them. And as we know, it's one thing to get in a house, it's another thing to be able to afford to stay in the house, pay your utilities and so forth. So we're working on one of the houses out on Willett Way a couple of years ago, and I've worked on several. And I poked my head up in the attic, and it wasn't easy because it's about this deep. It's almost 2 feet deep, and it's rock wool insulation, blown-in insulation. I'm not sure which exact one they're using today, but it's a loose-fill insulation that gives it it puts the habitat of Cape Cod houses at the highest level of any of the houses in America. Okay, this is something a lot of people don't know, but that's something I learned when I was there, was that they build at the highest efficiency of any other habitat in the country. And then on top of that, these homes, I believe, are all going to have solar on them. All the homes that they build have solar provided by generous people in the community. And the idea, again, is to be able to keep them affordable. And so I just want to address, could they make it a usable attic? It would really run the cost up tremendously, because then you'd have to insulate the underside of the roof with foam, and the cost of that versus truss, again, it starts to push these out of the affordability range. And if we keep our eye on the prize here, I think what they're doing is it's incredible, and it's very commendable. And I was really thrilled to be a part of that and to work on some of these homes. But I just want to help.
And I agree with you. I think that I want to make sure everyone understands. These houses have basements, so there's storage there. That's important. Even though there aren't any garages, these houses have storage. And one of our concerns on this board, for some of these other 40Bs in town, is that they don't have basements. They're slab on grade. So my concern was not so much about storage in the attic. Oh, that would be nice, but you need this. And since there's not going to be a hot roof, just going to be blown in, it sounds like to me.
That's correct.
Yeah, you're never going to use it for anything. And what you're saying is, more importantly, what the end result needs to be.
And I want to try to, put some of those concerns to,
And you're a builder.
perspective. So.
And you're a builder, but
Yeah.
it's the pitch. I'm looking for a more important is look, pride of place, look, not
Barracks.
barracks.
Totally agree. They do a nice mix, and if you take it right out on Willett Way, I think you'd agree that's a very successful project, if you will. It fits a need in the community, and it's, they are within themselves as well, okay? They're not 12 or 14 houses running down the road, okay? They're in quite a ways off the road, and they have each other to look at, if you will. And would it, we all like to see things that have jogs and additions and, all chopped up and so forth, but all it does is drives the cost up.
Oh, yeah.
And so, kudos to them that we were able to get them to partner on this project here to bring some of the best homes that are in America to Falmouth.
And since I'm not debating this, since you do know this, and you know a lot more than most of the people in the room here, it's the pitch of the roof I'm talking about, not adding jigs and jogs, because they've already done a wonderful job with windows, pilasters, the doorways, everything they've done. You usually don't see that in a 40B. All right, so we're just talking about this.
And I respect that as well. I just want to put it in perspective that, it is part of the big picture.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Prize, as you say, right? Thank you. Anybody else want to have a comment? Come on up.
Hello, my name is John Tarr. I live at 12 Crystal Spring Ave in North Falmouth, right off of Quaker Road. And I'm not a direct abutter as the people on Ben Nye Lane and Cameron Road are, but I do have a couple concerns about the property. I think it's a shame that poor Mr. Healer's old majestic old house is going to have to be torn down. And I wonder if there was any parts of that home that could be salvaged and used instead of just going in a dumpster. That's number one. Number two is Ben Nye Lane. I'm a residential contractor, painting contractor, so I'm always on Ben Nye Lane, and that road is a mess, especially once you get right up past the curve up here. Now you want to couple that with probably, how long would a project like this take? A couple years' time? Construction trucks nonstop up and down Ben Nye Lane and all the existing roads around there. That's number 2, I think. Was it 2? Yes. 3 my house is somewhere probably over here on Crystal Spring Ave, and deer, coyotes, foxes, everything, I can hear them coming through this property, and they come in behind my house and down into the marshy areas over there. So again, we're building all over town. I understand the need for housing. By the way, I think this project should be 100% Falmouth residents, because that's what we hear and read in the paper every day, that we need Falmouth residents need housing. So all Falmouth. And my last concern is, you brought up a good point about how things encroach on these properties. I do a lot of work in like Wild Harbor Estates, in Nye's Neck, Seascape, and every single neighborhood has that exact problem. Somebody all of a sudden will store a boat, and it's in behind your property, and you can now see that boat, and nobody's going to say anything. Or a car ends up getting parked back there, or bikes in the shed, and stuff does start to encroach, and there's not much that these neighborhoods can do about that, or are able to do about that. And I think that was it for me. Thank you. Does anybody have a question for me?
Anybody have a question?
I'm sorry, I ramble on.
You did fine. Thank you.
You're limited to the 70%.
Yeah, the 100%
We're
can't
limited to
happen.
70% by
Yeah.
state law and
Yeah.
Falmouth housing.
You can't have 100%.
How come?
State law,
State law.
70%.
Thank you.
70 is as high as we can go.
Thank you.
We would go 100 if we could.
110.
Okay, there's that. Thank
There is
you.
that.
There is post-salvage demolition is part of the program. We will go into the home and see if there's anything that can be salvaged. I believe there's a company that will be contacted, and then we also have a restore. So anything that can be sold and brought to the restore will be salvaged and sold again, and resold. So what was the third one? Sorry.
Wildlife
Wildlife.
corridor.
Wildlife.
I still think they're going to make it through there.
Yeah, they're going to find a
Yeah,
way.
they'll find their
Sure,
way.
I would just say for the wildlife, I think there is, it's not cut off from the larger property, so I guess I didn't catch like exactly where the corridors were, but it seems to me that there is still plenty of undisturbed area that the wildlife could,
They just have to do a little detour.
yeah. And then the construction traffic is a good question.
Yeah.
They'll have to, I think, who's ever doing the construction will have to be very, clear to the contractors and maybe specify a route that they have to take to get in and out. But I think that.
Comments was that it come off, all traffic, construction traffic come from Old Main Road and not from Wild Harbor Road.
And we typically cover that during the pre-construction meeting where the DPW will specify what the route will be. They'll specify the street is kept swept at the end of the day. They have all those requirements. And then, if there's necessary for a police detail or whatever else, obviously with construction of any kind, even for one home, you're still going to get construction traffic of some type that's going to be disruptive, but.
Yeah, I think there's setting of hours of construction you can control, and you can control, like you said, with the pre-construction meetings, set specific details on where the routes that drivers have to take.
Do you have any ability when the site clearing is taking place that maybe if there's some, oversized stones or something that you could put some of a natural barrier toward that preserved area so that there's some of a delineation without putting in fencing or something like that?
You mean on this buffer zone here?
Yeah, as you get toward that outer edge, just to sort of remind homeowners where their property effectively ends. So
Yeah, I imagine they may find some boulders and stones, and you could definitely do that. I don't think that would be a huge issue.
That would keep the boat away.
Well, it's not going to, they will find stones, but there will not be
No doubt
sufficient, there
about
won't be
that.
sufficient.
Yeah, it's unlikely there'll be
No, there won't be
huge
sufficient.
boulders in this area.
They rolled all the way down from Canada with a glacier.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any comments tonight? Come on up.
Can I pass out some
step into the foyer?
Sure.
This is the version of that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We've got a lot of stuff.
We can share.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This, in terms of wildlife and open space, is just another reference point to that.
Okay.
Not to worry.
These kind of tie together.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is doing well. Good job. This is
Thanks.
done
My
well.
name is Jeff Lintner. I went to third grade here when I lived on Mill Road, and for the last 63 years, I have been living, for the most part, almost half the year, in that little house just to the 39 feet away on Nye Lane. So I'm intimately familiar with this. I knew the healers. You know, this has been a huge part of my life, and I've submitted something in advance. I think you have it. It's about a 4-page document. Hope it was reasonably well-written and met your approvals, but my two fundamental concerns are the fact that I am on a well. There is no town water available for my site. I have 2 other lots. They will have wells on them eventually. And my neighbor, Catherine Truman, who is also on Nye Lane, I used to own that house, sold it to her. It's the oldest house in North Falmouth, oldest Nye house, and she's done a beautiful job with it. She has 2 wells. So originally there was some concern on my part, and Habitat addressed this in terms of, I think, the location of the, partially in terms of the leach field, and I'll get to that. I do want to say that I am not, or nor do I want to appear averse in any way to Habitat. I ran a corporate foundation at one point in my career. We gave a lot of money to Habitat. I love the organization. I am concerned, though, for myself about the well water. This sheet that I showed you has some light blue arrows on it, and it is the direction of flow that Habitat believes the water will take. And when you're adding 4,000 gallons a day at this one particular site, I have every reason to believe that that water is going to leach its way toward me. Now, the little blue dots that you see on there are nice, but I do not think that they are supported by the topography. It is not factually, doesn't make sense to me that that is the direction that the water is going to flow. Because if you look at the last page of what I sent out in advance, it suggests that the water will flow toward the 2 bogs that are on either side of Nye Lane where it meets Wild Harbor and flow directly into Trout Pond. It's a different direction. So what I'm hoping is that the board will think about this and require that there be test wells in advance that set forth what the flow is, because I don't think this concern can be mitigated. I know there was a discussion about what happens if there's a failure for the treatment system. I do have concerns about that I've written about, and it's not, you know, we had a windmill in this town that we thought was going to be great, and that's
Not everybody.
not everybody.
Well,
So, you know, you think things are great, and the nitrogen aspect of this may be great, and the maintenance of it may not work out, but if that fails, you know, I've got a problem. And so that is probably my most significant concern. I do want to add, I know we have a 2-minute limit, so I'm trying to keep this brief. I do want to talk about the barrier around here, because Ruth, who's talking about putting her 6.7 acres into conservancy because she believes in open space. In another life, I got about 28% of our entire township in Pennsylvania to commit to open space. So I'm a big proponent of that. She wants to do it because she believes in the wildlife. I don't think that this provides an adequate way for the wildlife to get through. This is really kind of encroaches on that, and I don't understand, honestly. I know that you guys have done a lot of work on this, and I don't understand why they have to be single-family dwellings. I just don't understand it. You look in North Falmouth, people are building multifamily condominiums, duplex, triplex, and so why couldn't you do that? And I sort of looked it up. Maybe I'm wrong about the research. There are 10 other habitat facilities in the state of Massachusetts, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, sorry, that have duplexes. So if you did that, if you found a way to condense the surrounding area there, you could have something that's architecturally satisfactory, but it creates a more condensed area. So, those are my principal concerns.
Do you want the applicant to address that for you?
I would love that.
That's up to the chair, but.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, yeah. Yeah, sure, I can address the groundwater question. So the groundwater contours are based on the Cape Cod Commission's data, so that's where the groundwater contours come from. Groundwater doesn't flow in the same direction as the topography, so you can't necessarily correlate topography to groundwater.
Underground.
Yeah, so it's not reflected by the topography above grade, it's reflected by the, again, the data that we got from the Cape Cod Commission. And I think the other part is there's some groundwater mapping and some watershed mapping for the, the estuaries that I think supports that groundwater flow situation too, where and I can share that with you if you'd like. It shows the, and I don't know if I might have them electronically, if you bear with me. No, I don't think I do, actually. But I can share those at a later meeting if needed. But it shows the sub-watersheds for the Fiddler's Cove and all the estuaries that are there. And it shows the watershed lines are based on the groundwater flow, because it shows that's where the, the nutrients are going. So feel pretty comfortable about the groundwater flow direction. But so I just wanted to add that.
If you have slides, it would be great to bring, or something for the screen for another hearing.
I can look. I have a bunch of data here. I'll just take a quick peek, but I don't know what else I got in this little.
I would think it would naturally go.
It's not really going to change. It would be akin to changing the course of a river.
Yeah. There's just so many ponds around there.
It's a known.
Yeah.
So this is from the Mass Estuaries project. This is the mapping of the watersheds that contribute to the, they actually are contributing to this area. And I think the next one I have is a little bit. So this blows up into our area. So here's, this blue line is the sub-watershed line. You can see there's a lot of them here. And then this, here's the existing home on the proposed project site. And I think here's Mr. Littner's, that's the house up there. So it looks like it seems to be in a different watershed, which would lend, I think, to the groundwater flow being different. So that's all I had.
Thank you.
Is this something the peer engineer can?
Peer engineer can do that, yeah.
So, you want to say that?
No, go for it.
So, I don't know, can peer engineering address that?
We can have them look into it.
So, we have, they have to pay to hire peer engineers, our engineers, look into that, and maybe that's something that we need to, our engineers, talk about.
We'll specify that.
Specify that.
I'm not an engineer, don't presume to have that level of knowledge, but I would believe that a test well would determine the flow of the water. And, you know, this is speculative. I would acknowledge it's speculative.
Test well would only determine what's in the water.
But pardon me?
A test well would only determine what's in the water. It wouldn't determine the flow of the water. I mean, and those are delineated in the maps that he showed you, and those really aren't, they're not subject to change. They're constant.
I see it just going, there's so many ponds up, I
You
would
know,
think
the
it.
Trout Pond is the
Yeah.
nearest pond, and it
Yeah.
goes, my contention is that, my belief, which is not scientifically supported, but I don't think the other is entirely either, that it goes right to Trout Pond.
Yeah, we can specify that to the peer review person.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And the other boundary issue here, so the boundary got pushed back on the Cameron Road side. It did not get pushed back on my side. The yellow sheet that I handed out, that shows that there is approximately 100 acres. If you add what the school has, if you add what, the other properties, there's 100 acres there that is open space for wildlife. And I have a friend who couldn't be here tonight, but has a ton of game cameras, and he can tell you the amount of wildlife. He's been all over this property.
Wow.
And he can tell you how many deer, et cetera, transit this area. You start putting this block in here, and it gets back to my concern, which, why couldn't you make the footprint smaller? Why couldn't you have duplexes? You go into North Falmouth, there are these condominiums selling for, $500,000, $750,000, and they're duplex units or triplex.
$1.1 million.
$1,000,001.
Yeah.
I know our housing production plan did call for single-family homes. I don't know if that's one of the reasons they chose that, but I know they're stressing that in the housing production plan for starter homes.
And you have to respect the figure that Jessica gave, that, I mean, this place had the potential to hold 110 units, and if it was
Yeah.
bought by somebody that wanted to develop it, I mean, I thought you would have been with, and I think Ken might be qualified to answer your hydrology questions as far as the groundwater change in direction. That's not going to happen.
I think we can satisfy
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
question.
We can put the peer review right on this.
I can't, but I think the peer engineer
Yeah.
might be able to.
Thank you.
Yep. We took the heat off for you, Mr. Foreman. Anybody else want to comment? Do you guys have anything further for tonight? I couldn't see him.
I just want to
Go ahead.
add one thing. Mr. Foreman's largest lament for 10 years being on the ZBA was the project on Main Street. And I'd just like to point out that in 2016, I passed a petitioner's article in town meeting for the town to take that land, and our town manager chose not to pursue it.
Oh, boy.
He was here 11 years too long, if you ask me, but anyway.
Anyway.
So you know.
Sorry about that.
That's quite all right. I don't have
Do you
anything.
anything further?
Nothing further, other than we look forward to the peer review process and the next hearing.
Yeah. So what do we have, Noreen, for a date?
So we were proposing December 4. I know it sounds like it's out a ways, but between holidays and
Be here like that.
allowing the peer engineer to do the review and then interface with you folks on some solutions. If that works for you, that's what we would propose.
That would be fine.
And we'll do the peer review. You will work with them, with other Noreen, to do the peer review work.
To Noreen.
So we'll
Again.
get together, these two will get together and work on the peer review.
Again, thank you all for your time.
Yeah, great.
And questions.
Can I have a motion from someone? December
To
4th
continue till December 4th,
at 6 PM.
6 PM.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. Everybody's all set? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Great, thank you all. Thank you all for coming out. These are good little maps to have, though, huh? Frank, I think I stole that.
I didn't use it anyways.
Oh, well, you might need it for the finale here. You don't have to. Are we doing any minutes tonight, guys? No minutes. Board discussion. We'll give it a minute.
I wonder if she
I don't feel like
wants
hollering.
a copy of
This is my trash pile. I've already started. I can put Toby away. He's going to escort them It's a pretty good project.
I do too.
Not like- Nice chunk to save. We're happy they're saving so much of it. Did you guys know that Saxon's trying to sell pitch pine off?
Huh?
Saxon's trying to sell that sand pit.
Of course, they always do. No, everybody knows.
Pine Lane.
All right, board discussion, I'm not going to ask them, we can just talk over them. Board discussion, does anybody have anything? Go Bruins, we got that?
Yeah, that's not till 10 o'clock, right?
I know, we got to stay up late.
California?
Yep.
Yeah, Vegas.
Who is the new team?
That's okay.
Okay, board discussion, board updates. Nick had a baby.
Good. Take
His
care.
name's Connor, that's my update. Anybody else have an update? Well, Nick's wife had the baby, I'll correct. Future agenda items,
Why? Men can't have babies? I thought that changed.
at least in Nick's world, it didn't happen. Any future agenda items that I need to, do we have next week off?
We got 3 weeks off because we're coming.
Row?
November 6th, right?
No,
Yes.
we just booked a meeting.
Oh.
So we have
Yeah,
tomorrow,
December
next week
4th.
off. Thank you.
2 weeks. Huh? 2 weeks. 2 weeks, yes.
Wow. Okay, 2 in a row. And I guess that's it, right?
Because you've had
got 2 weeks
five,
off?
you've had 5 in a row.
After that.
No, meeting through tonight. So you need to have a Thursday or 2 off.
No.
Oh, wait, the one first with Toby Lane.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, please continue to November 4th, yeah. Oh, I'm sure they'll stuff something else in there for us.
For November,
Yeah.
for the Toby. When was Toby? November.
6?
November 4th, wasn't it?
6.
All right, so I think
All
we're
right.
good. Mark, you want to help me
Motion to
out?
adjourn, Madam Chair.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn in a second.
November 6th it was.
Six.
I have to
Oh, yeah,
say,
that's right.
the next meeting will be on November 6th at 6 PM. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye, aye.
Opposed? None. Let's go.